Jeez, I thought the last gap between these was bad. It's been over a year since I made one for this playlist. For those not in the know, welcome to my little dedicated series of recommendation videos for ongoing animated series that I think deserve more eyes on them. I've previously talked about Infinity Train, Kid Cosmic, DuckTales, and Amphibia back when all of those shows were still airing. And now I'm hopefully talking about a show which won't be imminently canned quite so quickly after my posting. Heck, at the time of this writing, this show is still only partway into its first season, which means for the first time I don't have to worry about writing around any massive spoilers. It's another Disney joint, which now makes 3 of those in a row. I should probably spring for another Cartoon Network or Netflix show next time. If you've ever heard me talk about Ms. Marvel or Spider-Man Homecoming, or watched my recent video on Superman Returns, you know I love the street-level superhero fare, and wish the genre had more of it. Superheroes in film and television spend a lot of time on threats to a whole nation, or planet, or universe, or on the opposite extreme, embroiled with villains whose only motivation is a personal vendetta, when there's quite a bit of charm to be found in heroes who spend more time stopping bank robbers or people harassing their local community. Lunella Lafayette is one of those heroes, a preteen genius with a brain that'd make Tony Stark blush, who adopts the moniker of Moon Girl after lucking into an interdimensional pet dinosaur and almost immediately deciding that's grounds enough to become a neighborhood crime fighter. Lunella's a great protagonist. She feels like the second coming of Dexter. Or, I guess, the third coming of Dexter, because the second coming of Dexter was Jimmy Neutron. Whatever. One part relatable little kid, one part noble, charismatic superhero, and one part obsessive, ego-driven mad scientist. She's such a joy to watch. Diamond White imbues Lunella with so much charm, it's criminal, and I don't ever see myself getting tired of her. She'd be an excellent lead character all on her own, but she's also bolstered with a double act courtesy of best friend character Casey, and hey yo, girl, hold up.
Why is his head so big? Why is his head so big?
Casey's played by Libe Bearer, who I'm mainly familiar with as the voice of Violet on DuckTales. After that role was so deadpan and measured, it's fun hearing her play Casey as the polar opposite. Super expressive, confident, and extroverted, but between her and Lunella, she's also the one more likely to have her head on her shoulders, which makes for a fun back and forth. I never do this for the shows I talk about, but I'm actually going to recommend that people stick it out and give it a couple episodes in the event that the pilot doesn't do it for them. With the other series I've talked about, they've all got pretty perfect first outings, but if I'm honest, I think Moon Girl's first episode is by far its weakest, thanks to some weird pacing. Episode 1 zips through emotional and story beats at light speed, and it makes for an introduction that I think is carried more by charm and style than story. On a related note, while it makes perfect logistical sense for the show to then drop us into a status quo where Moon Girl is a beloved neighborhood icon and de facto protector from the start of episode 2, I can't help but think that the trials and tribulations of Lunella and Casey trying to build her brand was a concept we could have milked for at least a 2 or 3 episode arc. But once you're past the show's somewhat awkward first foots forward, you're almost immediately into some spectacular stuff. There's a lot of structural flourishes to this show that I love, like how every episode opens with a short, self-contained bit of hijinks that sets up or ties thematically with the larger story that follows. There's Bob's Burger-style credit shenanigans unique to each one, and every episode climaxes with an immaculately animated visual sequence, backed up by some of the most kickin' diegetic tunes that Moon Girl's target age range are likely to ever hear on TV, including a lot that are made specifically for the show. All around the production, music, animation, you name it, it all screams talent and vision. The character designs are almost all striking and appealing, and the aesthetic is just, well, come on, you're looking at it. And the music choices almost give me Cowboy Bebop vibes. Though the soundtrack's definitely not as eclectic as that certified classic, it bangs just as hard and complements the show it's in just as well. Swinging back to the characters, Lunella's got a great chemistry with her parents and grandparents, and the moments and episodes focusing on those dynamics in particular tend to be my favorites. There's so many fun side or one-off characters though, especially the villains, many of whom end up being quite sympathetic. Some of my favorites include LOS 307, the humanity-coveting artificial intelligence turned school guidance counselor, or Lunella's own Hair, voiced by Jennifer freaking Hudson of all people, and of course, the Beyonder. played by the show's executive producer and Moon Girl megafan Laurence Fishbourne. If there's any reservations I have about the cast in this show, it's that the Devil Dinosaur half of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is a bit underserved. There's only one episode out of the 11 released so far that I'd really call a Devil Focus episode. Granted, it might be hard in a show as full with snappy dialogue as this one to fully flesh out a lead who doesn't speak, but I hope future episodes give us more to Devil than just being the big cute pet who does big cute pet things and also helps out in fight scenes. Maybe this is just on brand, but I feel like Disney's really been leading the charge as far as kids' cartoons that go out of their way to incorporate the earnest, applicable life lessons. The kind of stuff I'm sure they love over at Standards and Practices, and Moon Girl's a prime example with episodic morals like learning to slow down, not being competitive to the point of insensitivity, not feeding internet trolls, living in the moment, but also some more specific stuff like appreciating the beauty in afro hair, dealing with social anxiety, and even gentrification. I get why some more mature viewers might feel like such explicitly moralistic fare talks down to kids, but I really like how it gives us protagonists like Lunella with character flaws and insecurities that are fun, persistent without being annoying, and most importantly, believable for a kid her age. I give that gentrification episode major props for tackling the issue more explicitly than I've ever seen on kids' TV. I dare say this is one of those things that's gonna be looked back on in years to come as a lot of baby's first radicalization. That episode's definitely one of my 3 favorites so far, along with the Beyonder episode and the one about mindfulness. The romp with the Beyonder is just a laugh riot, and the Skipster story is by far the most emotionally engaging. Granted, that might just be because it feels like someone adapted the best parts of Adam Sandler's Click into a kid's cartoon. While the gentrification episode is everything I love about what superheroes like Moon Girl have to offer the genre, the other 2 are the episodes least dependent on the superhero context. Like, they'd work just as fine and have just as much impact as episodes in any other fantastical cartoon. Without spoiling the fun of it all, I don't know if there's much more I can say. Moon Girl's just immaculate, man. Much like the show I began this series with, I don't know how well my words can do it justice, but it needs to be seen and talked about. For both the kids and the kids at heart, I say bump this show up quick to the top of your watch list. At its worst, it's one of those eminently watchable comfort shows, and at its best, it's maybe some of the best stuff on TV for kids and families. As usual, comment below if I've in any way got you interested in watching this show. If you've seen it already or were spurred to watch it by this video, why don't you leave your thoughts on it in the comments? If there's any other shows that you think deserve a shout out from me and would like to see get this video treatment, then voice that in the comments too. Like and subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the future.